Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out-of-this-world story from our space. When cheating leads to success, but not for the cheer. With update. Parts of the story had to be edited to keep with roles of the group. So my story is a tough one. It started back on the 10th of February 2020. My best friend of 14 years and her 3-year-old child came to stay with us until she found somewhere new to live. I babysat her kid for her while my husband would take her to the shops to get food. On one occasion, I was walking with her, and she told me how she had been with married men before. "Oh, don't worry. Of course I know your husband's off limits." Everything was okay for a week. Then I noticed something weird. He and her would often go into the kitchen alone, leaving me to babysit her son or watch TV by myself. I never believed anything was really happening, but I did start to wonder. It was odd behavior, though I just figured I was being jealous of the attention he seemed to be giving her. They did, after all, have a little more in common, but I just dismissed this. My husband and I had been together for 9.5 years, married 3 years this May. One night, I walked into the kitchen and they both just suddenly pulled apart from one another. I thought it was weird and told a friend about it, who agreed that it was very odd behavior. My husband told me he was just grabbing a fork for the pineapple he was eating, and being the ever-devoted loving wife I believed in. He was also all too eager to put horror movies on for them to watch if I just said I was considering going to bed. I don't watch horror films as I get nightmares easily. My best friend, whom I gave a place to live and brought food for, would surely never do anything like that to me. We were too close, and honestly, I didn't think my loyal, wonderful, loving husband would ever do it either. Life between us was great. Then, the 22nd of February rolled in. My husband tells me he didn't love me anymore. He said he hadn't loved me since before we got married and continued to say things like, "Because of your autism, you'll never change, and I just can't put up with that anymore." And he even told me that he feels we have nothing at all in common. So, after several hours of talking, I leave the house, devastated that my marriage was now over, and I had no idea there was a problem between us. I called up a marriage counseling service after asking my husband if he would be interested in trying it. He agreed. A few days pass. I'm still hopeful we can fix our relationship and get things back on track. I popped back to my house to pick up a few items. I hadn't told him I was coming because it was my house and I didn't think it would matter. As I walked up the path, I saw someone run upstairs. I thought nothing to it at the time. When I opened the door, my BFF's child came to greet me, happy to see me and wanting me to play with his sticker book, like I had been before I left. My husband stood there, a stony expression on his face. He wouldn't let me near him, just pushed me away when I tried to hug him. So I left, feeling rather defeated. A full week and about 3 days passed when I finally asked my husband if he and her had gotten together. Here's the texts that follow. "Hey, our conspiracy theory's flying a lot because of what you and BFF are doing. Have you cheated on me with her? I will believe you if you say you haven't because I know you wouldn't do that. But are you two an item? I know it's a dumb thing to wonder, but a lot of people had just said you have, and honestly, I need proof to say I asked. LOL, even friend thought you were cheating. Ha! Who came up with that conspiracy? We're split up now. Anything I do with anyone isn't to do with you anymore. I did not cheat on you." Several people. Friend was the first one to mention it. I hope you're not. I know it's none of my business, but my BFF is like a sister to me. For her to do that would mean the end of our friendship. Dad thinks it was all a plan. You throw me out so you can get with BFF. Ha! Still saying haha because the very thought sounded ridiculous to me, and I thought he should know I wasn't taking the accusation seriously. I didn't want to sound insane or jealous. Well, your dad is wrong. You know my reasons for this breakup, and it's stupid you would accuse me of that. But as I said, whatever I do from now on isn't to do with you. So you are? Look, you want an answer. The situation is we have thought about it. Yes, we got together. I was devastated and angry. It definitely meant no chance for us. I had to speak to my BFF. Surely she would feel bad. After everything I'd done for her, could she really have done this to me? Text to the BFF. I opened up my home, give you and your child somewhere to live, and this is how I'm repaid? Oh, you make this sound like this whole thing was planned. It wasn't. So that makes you get together with my husband? Okay, does it? Technically, you two have split up. I can't believe you would betray me like this. I just can't. I don't care. There's things you don't do, BFF, and that's one of them. You stabbed me in the back. I'm not pushing blame, but it takes two people. Yes, I shouldn't have done it. No, I'm not proud of what I've done, and yes, I've been worried sick about telling you. I know I've lost you as a friend, and other friends too, And that's really terrible. And I really don't blame you for not wanting to talk to me ever again, to be frank. I really am grateful for how much you've helped me over the years, especially now, and thank you. And you certainly didn't deserve this at all. Not gonna cut it, but I'm really sorry. I honestly believe she only apologized because she was caught out. Later that day, I was told that they had started a relationship 2 days after I left the house. I was angry. I hated them both, and she certainly owed me far more than before. Something people said a lot was that I should kick him out and take back my home, but I'm too nice and they both had nowhere else to go. I wasn't going to send them to the streets. The house she was scheduled to move to was a better location for me personally. I suffer from anxiety and agoraphobia, so leaving the house from where I live is very difficult for me. That coupled with not being able to drive is even harder. So I asked my BFF if she could keep my house and I take hers. My house is in a better location for her, and since she doesn't have any problems leaving my house to go out places, it would be better for her than me. It was also a much better location for schools, as there is plenty of choice, and not to mention that her house wouldn't be ready for a few months. She also wouldn't need to decorate. But she said no. I begged her, reminded her of all the things I had done for her, of the fact I gave her somewhere to live, and she stole my husband in return. Back to text messages. BFF, would you help me, please? I've always been there when you've needed me. Please should return the favor. After everything I've done for you, you owe me. Please, BFF, I'm begging, please. That's my house. Please, BFF, I gave you my home when you had nowhere else to go. I lost a lot for you. Please, I helped you when you needed it most. I babysat your child while I was there. I was a shoulder for you. Please, I gave you my house. Can you return the favor? Please, BFF, I'm begging you. I'm not giving up that house. Your house is not suitable for our needs. My house was literally built for families to live in. I did you a huge favor and lost a lot for you. Well, it can be suitable for you. Besides, child will grow. Can you at least maybe try and find somewhere else downtown? BFF, it isn't you who is homeless right now. I could have demanded you leave after you stabbed me in the back for all the good I did. Please. I'm sure my husband will be more than happy to help you get the house into the shape you want. I'm desperate. You're not trapped like I am. The messages go on. Frankly, at the time, I knew she would never say yes, but I felt I should point out my entire argument and also felt that it would show just how ungrateful and nasty she truly was. She continued to slag off my house in ways that don't even make sense, saying it wasn't suitable for a child despite the fact that the house is in amazing condition. There is literally nothing wrong with the house whatsoever. She even made fun of the fact that I can't leave the house. I was stuck. I couldn't go home as my husband told me it wouldn't be fair to the child to be in a tense place, so I had to stay with my parents. 2nd of March. My husband wanted to meet me. I forget the exact reason, but I was icy to him. I wasn't going to show any mercy, and I definitely didn't plan on taking it back either. But as we sat in the car talking, he began to sob. This is a man who never cries. He sobbed into my arm and said how much he wanted our lives to go back to normal, how much he regretted getting with my BFF and really wanted us to be on good terms, how he missed me and couldn't sleep knowing I wasn't in his life anymore. So, I chose to give him another chance. I didn't make that choice lightly, however. I know I had to keep my guard up. He agreed to get himself tested to prove himself to me. He went straight home, broke up with BFF, and stayed at his mother's house for 2 days while my BFF got her stuff together and left for her new home, which was nowhere near ready for her and her young child to safely live in. That night, although I had planned not to, we ended up getting together. That week was both good and bad. I did start to love him again, and I spent a lot of time reassuring him that we are okay and that I knew that we could make it. He would just smile, just say he hoped so. But he told me on one occasion he still had feelings for BFF. He spent the whole week telling me he loved me, he wanted me, he chose me, and that he really, really wanted our relationship to work. But he felt bad that he hadn't given our relationship a chance to fix itself, and I believed him. I proved a lot to him. That I could change for him. I spent the week making sure he knew that. But of course, it ended, 16th of March. I came home and he was acting weird. I asked him what was wrong, and he told me then, not texts. I have something I should probably tell you, but I don't think you'll like it. Well, you've said that now. Might as well tell me what it is. Well, me and BFF were seeing each other before we split up. She was actually with me while you slept. I shouldn't have been, but I was shocked and angry. I felt he used me after letting him back into my life. I started to cry, though I was holding it back as best I could. Something inside me snapped. In a fit of rage, I kicked a box as hard as I could and broke my toe. I ran upstairs and checked my foot. My husband followed and then brought me back down to put peas on my toes. He didn't tell me that he and her had been texting the whole week about how much they loved one another. More was said, but I can't remember the entire conversation. But I do remember that he told me, well, you wanted me to stay for 1 week to help settle things, and that's what you got. I realized then that he had no intention of being with me at all and was just using me for a bit to stay until BFS' house was ready. I stormed to the kitchen and deleted her number off of his phone. I texted her telling her off, calling her a name and telling her to never talk to either of us again. Then I came back to him angry. I was hurt and I honestly just wanted to hit him, but I'm not a violent person. I sat down quietly while he went upstairs and started packing his things, telling me he was going to move in with her. The rage built up inside of me. I went upstairs, picked up a photo of us together, and screamed at him. Isn't this a lovely picture? Pity it meant nothing to you. I threw it hard to the ground. The frame broke, but the picture in glass was okay. He got angry and started coming towards me, telling me off for being so immature. He swords past me and I followed, picking up another photo. Oh, and this one, just after we finished our wedding dance practice. And this, where you're making the flowers for our wedding cake. When I dropped that to the ground, it shattered to pieces, oddly reminiscent of my heart and how his nasty words had made me snap. I felt so used and worthless. I just kept screaming at him. How dare you do this to me again, you evil jerk! I can't use the real words on here. I don't like to swear. He really did make me flip. After I calmed, I spoke to his mother and she supported me, angry that he was doing this. She brought him up better than that. So now it's the 18th. I had a message from him saying I was one step from being an abusive wife. I never once laid a finger on him or even tried to. Frankly, it is laughable because he has hit me in the past and I've never been violent like that in my life. Due to my ADHD, I've had anger problems in the past, but it never led to violence. I was always kind and attentive to his needs and was there for him when he needed me. But looking back on it now, I see he was just using me. I want to clear this up. Before all this happened, life with him was great. We rarely argued. We were always enjoying games together and always on the same page. We were the type of couple who could finish one another's sentences. We were planning on children, and my family loved him like one of their own. Update. It's a long story, so feel free to skim. I was looking for this story the other day for someone who had asked, and when I found it, I read to and realized just how delusional I had become with that man. It made me sad because in the year that followed, I quickly realized how toxic our relationship truly was. He had me believing everything was my fault, that I was weak and I couldn't do anything. I had severe agoraphobia to the point I couldn't leave the house, and I was terrified of being alone. He did play on that, and on some occasions tortured me with it. He did terrible things to me as well on a regular basis and gaslighted often too. Now I'm free. I'm headstrong. I'm out there. I've gotten a job. I've gotten a lot fitter. I've started college to retake my GCSEs. I'm taking driving lessons. All these things he said I could never do. I can now walk anywhere and everywhere, as well as take buses I'm unfamiliar with. Trains, not so much. I have queue-phobia with them due to an accident as a kid. Now here I am, succeeding, without that useless waste of space, who I hear is still doing the same rubbish. No job because gaming all day, ignoring his girlfriend, scrounging money off of his mother for endeavors he never bothers with, and the rest. AKA, I wasn't the problem he made me out to be. Sadly, it's not over yet. While we are divorced, he is refusing to sign the clean break agreement and pay his share of the divorce. Why am I posting this? Well, I just want to say that just because someone cheats doesn't mean the world has ended. It could mean your life is just beginning. Let's get some reaction from the community. Kanak starts us off. You really lost nothing and only won. It came with pain and betrayal, but in the end, you won. You got better while he is still facing his poor life, not being able to get better. There are people who want to encourage their partner to be better because they know that their relationship will benefit from it. And then there are people like your ex who want to drag their partner down with them because they are afraid that their partner might realize that they are not doing them any good. Good thing is, this is now the problem of your ex-BFF and no longer yours. Go on like you are currently doing and be proud of yourself. Haunting Row 3961 says, You rock. Read through your backstory and I'm so thrilled for you. An award for design, tackling your acrophobia, huge win, getting a job, getting back to education. Wow, in a short span of time you have just aced so many things. As soon as the dead weights were off, you have just taken off, onward and upward. Truly impressed. Wishing you more successes in life. Okay, on to the next story. Wife left me for a friend, then regretted her decision. Once upon a time, there lived a young couple, Shin and he. They were college sweethearts and got married a few years after graduation. Like most couples, they had their ups and downs, but were happy in general. They moved from state to state to enhance their jobs and careers. One day, they ended up working for the same company. Like most young couples, Shin and he enjoyed doing things together. They had many common friends, and one of them was Micah. One day, Micah divorced. He felt sorry for him. She asked Shin if Micah could hang around with them to ease the pain of loneliness of the divorce. Shin agreed. Micah often came over for dinner and spent weekends at their apartment. Not only did they see each other at work, they went hiking, traveled, attended concerts, and did many things together. One Christmas, the couple flew to visit their parents and even brought Micah along. This went on for about a year until Shin found a new job. Shin was consumed with the new job as it demanded a lot of attention. As a result, he couldn't participate in many of the social activities with he and Micah. As this went on, he and Micah became nearly inseparable. Some people at work often mistook that they were lovers. Whenever they were not physically together, they would be on the phone quietly whispering. They often went out to dinner, then movies, and attended parties without Shin. This went on for about a year. Then he asked Shin if she could have even more freedom to do things with Micah. She wanted to travel and explore the world with Micah. In response to his wife's request, Shin quietly moved out so he could pursue her new interest, though they were technically still husband and wife. A few months later, he lost her job. She found a new one, but in a different state, and had to move there. Shin eventually found a new girlfriend and filed for a divorce. He wanted to come back to Shin. She said she didn't love Micah, and he was only a friend, and it was Shin whom she loved. But Shin was determined to sever the tie. He was going through what Micah was a couple years prior. Micah found a new job with the same company that he was working for and moved there. They became co-workers and again lived in the same city and state while the divorce was being finalized. According to he, Micah was trying to console her the same way she did him. A few months later, the divorce was finalized. He got sick and was unable to work. Micah was always there consoling her. After a couple years, Micah proposed to he and wanted to marry her to assist her through sickness and distress and support her financially. He reluctantly agreed because she knew Shin would never come back, but she still loved him. Micah said, "I know you still love Shin, but I love you nevertheless." He found consolation and comfort in his words and companionship. Shin married his new girlfriend and moved on. Is it a happy love story ending for he and Micah? Yes, he and Micah are right for each other. No, he and Shin should remain married. Micah is the hero and Shin is the villain. The hero always gets the girl. The friendship and bond between he and Micah is beautiful. Shin was right to move on. Micah had ulterior motives. Shin should have never let Micah move into the relationship. On to the next story. I don't know what to believe and I need help. My girlfriend went to visit one of her girlfriends in college this weekend, and she's been ghosting me the whole week prior and while she was there. She was getting shit-faced drunk every day and night she was there. Yesterday, I got a terrible phone call from her while I was at work, telling me she had been raped, and I immediately started sobbing. I'm being as supportive and attentive as I can to her, and I feel terrible. The night it happened, there was a game that day, and everyone went to the bars after the game. Her girlfriend was with her at the time, but had left her to go have sex with other men that previous nights. She was practically stranded in a town she wasn't familiar with by herself. She was still at the string of bars, and I know this because I was tracking her out of my worry for her. She wasn't responding to any of my texts, but she was still on her phone. She replied maybe once that night, and I responded with a picture. Got no reply. She eventually responds to the picture of her smiling in a car while seeming to be looking at someone. This was at 5 a.m., and I had just gotten off work. I was thinking, why is she still up? Is she okay? And that was the end of that. I don't know what to believe, and it's a really hard situation for me because I can't get any answers. I undoubtedly believe that she was raped, and I feel absolutely horrid. But nobody dragged her into a car unwillingly to take her to this house. She had to have made a decision to leave the bars with someone. I'm stuck. I don't know if she had the intent of cheating, and it went farther than she intended it to go. I need advice because this is something that I've never dealt with before, and I can't talk to her about it because it's such a sensitive topic. I just have a gut feeling that something is wrong and something isn't adding up. Okay, let's check in with some reactions. Admirable Ad 801 says, "Buddy, it's easy. She was raped. You support her. You tell her to open a criminal case. She'll be sent for medical exam as well as DNA tested for male semen. If she continues through with the case, you support her. It remains her choice. If she does not want to open a case, the opposite may be needing a look at. She went out and got begged, scared she was pregnant, and now cried wolf. If she does make a case, she will need your support. Rape victims go through hell in the stand testifying. The whole night and all her actions will be scrutinized to the finest detail. You will probably use the defense if it was consensual. The ghosting in photos with others while friends out of others, it gives off a wrong vibe. Be careful how you handle this. But she ghosts you. Then after, her decisions led her here. Then only she phones you. Tread carefully. If this is a cry wolf, it will come out in the trial. If this was a rape, you will find that out as well. Just look after yourself in this. Remain objective and supportive. Ensure she gets counseling. You should also attend counseling. There are support groups for rape victim family. They teach you how to support the rape victim. Just let her talk. If a rape, you will know. If a cheating, you will also know. And in most countries, you can get life imprisonment. If the person who raped her finds out, you'll probably try to get his version out as quickly as possible. Fact will take on its form. Just be supportive now till you know more. Our next comment comes from Unlucky Process 9062. Still odd she was ghosting you non-stop, not responding and just acting differently towards you. So I would agree with you totally that something does not add up. Neko Y19 says, I think there are two different points here. She was raped. Provide your support and understanding as a friend and someone who cares about her. She ghosted you for a week and decided to jump into strangers' cars or homes. She chose to meet and hang out one-on-one with men and without her friend. I would call this cheating and is completely apart from the rape. Do you think you'll trust her after her choices? If not, then break up. Our last comment coming from View Administration 245. Ask her to immediately go to the hospital and report the rape to the police. If she's not willing, then it could be consensual. When she did the deed, she got cold feet, and then to get your sympathy and support, turned it as rape. If she denies going to the police, she is shady most likely.